Not negotiating behind closed doors, but bringing all parties together and broadcasting those negotiations on C-SPAN so that the American people can see what the choices are. Because part of what we have to do is enlist the American people in this process.
I would put my plan forward and I would welcome input and say, here are my goals: reduce costs, increased quality, coverage for everybody. If you have better ideas, please. But these negotiations will be on C-SPAN. And so the public will be part of the conversation and will see the choices that are being made.
You know, I respect what the Clintons tried to do in 1993 in moving health reform forward. But they made one really big mistake, and that is they took all their people and all their experts into a room and then they closed the door. We will work on this process publicly. It'll be on C-SPAN. It will be streaming over the net. We'll have the negotiations televised on C-SPAN so that people can see who is making arguments on behalf of their constituents and who are making arguments on behalf of the drug companies or the insurance companies.
But here's the thing. We're going to do all these negotiations on C-SPAN. So the American people will be able to watch these negotiations.
Drug and insurance companies will have a seat at the table. They just won't be able to buy every single chair. And we will have a public process for forming this plan. It'll be televised on C-SPAN. I can't guarantee it'll be exciting, so not everybody is going to be watching it. But it will be transparent and accountable to the American people.
Question on health care. C-SPAN television is requesting leaders in Congress to open up the debate to their cameras, and I know this is something that the president talked about on the campaign trail. Is this something that he supports, will be pushing for?
I've not seen that letter. I know the president's going to begin some discussions later today on health care in order to try to iron out the differences that remain between the House and the Senate bill and try to get something, hopefully, to his death.
Why can't you answer the C-SPAN question?
I did.
Well, you didn't, because you
I said I hadn't seen the letter, which I haven't.
Why do you need to see a letter? I mean, this is something the president said during the campaign, and he talked about he wants everything open on C-SPAN.
Dan asked me about the letter, and I haven't read the letter. So
I'll just ask you about having it on C-SPAN.
I understand. I answered Dan's question, and I answered this before we left for the break. Keith, the president, number one priority is getting the differences worked out, getting a bill to the House and the Senate. We've filled your newspaper and many others with the back and forth and the details of what's in these bills. I don't want to keep that from continuing to happen. I don't think there's anybody that would say that we haven't had a thorough, robust, now spanning 2 calendar years debate on health care. Juliana?
There are a lot of reasons not to do it on C-SPAN. People could showboat. Does he regret making that statement during the campaign?
And tonight in Hannity's America, the president's honeymoon with the press is already over. Now, Mr. Obama's announcement of a, quote, new era of openness have left some in the media scratching their heads wondering, well, why so many closed doors? Now, a reporter from Politico.com pressed President Obama yesterday about why he nominated a lobbyist to a senior post at the Defense Department after pledging his administration would be lobbyist-free. Obama responded by saying,
We will be having a press conference at which time you can feel free to answer questions. Right now, I just wanted to say hello and introduce myself to you guys. That's all I was trying to do.
Now, in addition, the LA Times reports that the administration has adopted a similarly rigid policy with photojournalists, barring their access to events and instead distributing only pictures taken by an official White House photographer. And what about that section on the presidential website where all the daily press briefings are posted? Well, Newsbusters points out that unlike the websites of both Presidents Clinton and Bush, well, that section seems to be mysteriously missing from Obama's WhiteHouse.gov. Oh, yeah, it's the era of transparency, all right? Transparency at a time and place of his choosing.
Because when I'm president, meetings where laws are written will be more open to the public, no more secrecy. That's a commitment I make to you as president. No more secrecy.
C-SPAN, you came to light today. The C-SPAN wrote a letter, Mr. Lamb. Do you guys to have this process be transparent in regards to the conference committee. Right now it's being done with ping pong. Any response on that? Mr.
Well, no
Baker,
decision
now in
has-
favor of
yeah.
this to be out in public. President Obama was in favor of that on the campaign.
Really? Well, there are a number of things he was throwing on the campaign trail.